We're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to JavaScript Jam. Woo, 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 woo. As y'all know, I'm Scott Stanley. Scott Stanley, co-host here on JavaScript Jam, technical community manager at Edgio, and Anthony.
Hello, my name is Anthony Campolo. I am a developer advocate at Edgio, and we have two exciting guests for you from Wasp. Thanks for joining us, guys. Introduce yourself.
Hey, hi, Anthony and Scott. Yeah, super excited to be here. I was actually on one podcast with you before, Anthony, but I also brought my twin brother and my co-founder, Martin. Yeah, I mean, super shortly about us, and Martin can also say then a couple of words. So about 2.5 years ago, we started making our own web framework, which is called Wasp. It has kind of a bit of a fun twist. It is actually a language, but it is not like a full language like JavaScript or C++. It is a domain-specific language, so something more like Terraform, or at this stage it's like a smart and nice JSON, which basically ties together React, Prisma, Node, and makes it super easy to get all the boring stuff out of the way, like auth, RPC, email support, type safety, and similar. So we just kind of want to make it super easy to develop full stack web apps with React and Node. And yeah, one of the cool things that we did lately, was kind of plug in the AI part to the story. So we developed our own GPT coding agent that uses Wasp, React, and Node. And now we are getting close to 10K applications, in about a month generated. So that was quite fun, and got us a lot of new users. So I think that's going to be something fun to cover. And yeah, just super shortly about Martin and me before we go on. We are both kind of studying computer science. Worked at multiple startups and bigger companies. For example, Martin was at Google and Palantir before we started doing our own stuff. So just kind of combination of the projects we did before, and that work kind of motivated us, to start thinking how we can make web development simpler. I think we are all kind of familiar with the issue here. Yeah, that's.
You said you worked at Palantir, Martin?
I was doing internships with both companies. Got also full-time offer in Palantir. I remember, but it was still during the college that I wasn't ready to kind of jump out of from the college. But interesting point, in Palantir, I was the first person doing Angular 1.
AngularJS.
AngularJS, exactly. Actually, my internship was to move the app from Java to Backbone, and then in the middle of it, they were like, "Oh, now there is Angular, so let's let's try Angular." And then I was kind of doing it like discovering Angular. So it was super fun, and it's weird now to look at it because it sounds very old.
But it's one of those companies that I always hear about in Silicon Valley lore, and a lot of people had kind of different opinions about it, but it's not like it was a company that had very legit technical chops is the sense I always got.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh, by the way, I wanted to say Scott loved your sound effects at the beginning. I just wanted to quickly add to what Matija said is, we kind of had the same biography, so not much to add on my side, but what Matija said about Wasp is basically it's a full stack framework for JavaScript. So that's about it. It has superpowers due to it being a configuration language on the side, but you don't need to know much about it. It's kind of like you realize at some point, oh, it's like one part of it is a language, but the rest is really, I would say it's more like Ruby on Rails for Java.
Yeah, it feels like using a regular framework, with some stuff made easier.
Yeah, I'm saying this because we realized some people get scared when we say it's a language, and they don't really even need to know it's a language. So then
it's much more a framework than a language. It's a framework that has a specific language for a specific part of it.
Exactly. Oh yeah, Anthony, you would know exactly.
So developers don't get scared of the lang part. We'll kick that out probably at some point. So just come to us.
That's really funny, actually, because you guys know that I work on Redwood, which is another full stack JavaScript React kind of framework, and there's in both cases, people get scared by GraphQL with us, and then people get scared by the language idea with you guys, and with both of them, it's those are specific architectural choices that were made to make the larger thing easier. So it's they get hung up on previous DSLs they've used or previous GraphQL projects they've been in. And they're like, okay, that previous thing I did was really hard. That must mean this current thing is going to be really hard too. And it's well, no, because we're using it in a different way than you were using it. We're doing it for a different purpose. And there's probably a lot more thought put into it. You obviously put a lot of thought into how the language fits into the larger framework, I'm sure. So what was the decision to build a language instead of just using a JSON blob?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think one of the big motivations, especially for us, kind of our experience was we had to rewrite. I mean, we had to develop several bigger apps. Let's say in like 1 or 2 years distance, and every time there was a new thing coming out. First it was Backbone and then Angular, and then the next thing was React, and first we used Java for the backend, and we used Node and similar. We just felt like every time there is a new technology, and way before we used PHP. So we even use that.
There was also just jQuery somewhere in the middle. I mean, it's always
we just felt like there should be like kind of abstract way which does not depend on specific language or technology for you to express your business requirements. At least to some extent.
At least the basic ones.
At least the basics, so like some CRUD stuff, data models, and similar. So that's why we opted for language approach, kind of to be more technology agnostic, plus to get rid of some of the usual boilerplate you get with library calls and similar.
Yeah, I think that the main idea was that to describe the high level of your app, you don't really need a Turing complete language. You need something simple, right? Kind of like I mean, I will say simple, but CSS, HTML, right? They're doing their job.
Something declarative.
The idea was to have something declarative and really made for that task for describing the web app. So I think you can find maybe still on our GitHub rep or maybe on the older. Like if you looked into older commits in the README, we say that Wasp is a language that understands what an app is, what a notification is, what a page is, stuff like that, right? So if you have that baked into the language, and all these things kind of understand each other, then the idea was, we can have a very nice way to express stuff without being directly dependent on the underlying technology. So I don't know, maybe you could use it with React, you could use it with Vue, Svelte, who knows, right? I mean, right now it's just React because we need to get something to 1.0. But in the future, the idea is to have also multiple front-end technologies, back-end technologies.
Yeah, even the name Wasp, comes from so Wasp means web application specification language. Actually, the whole idea was kind of writing a web application. A typical one should be actually more similar to writing out a specification, in more human language than you going down deep into all the properties, React hook form or whatever, right? So
that's funny. Is that in the docs anywhere? That's actually an acronym, or originally was an acronym? I don't know if I've ever heard that before.
That's a good point.
That's just a hidden secret.
Exactly. It was a part of a landing page before. I think it got flashed out from the landing page. I think you can find it somewhere in the docs, but now we also have the new docs.
But it's mostly restructuring.
Yeah. So potentially somewhere in the docs. Yeah.
One thing that I like to do is I like to go back to the very first commit on a very old and well-starred GitHub repo and look what it looks like. So I would be able to find it if I went through the history,
Yeah, I give it a look. I think the first commit might even be in C++.
It was.
It's quite interesting.
I managed to talk Martin out of using C++.
Yeah, it was a silly idea.
I mean, we opted for Haskell, so. But still.
No, much better.
Much better, But I think, it's always this duality kind of between trying to, impress people with your cool language approach and how it's going to be abstract and support multiple stuff. And then on the other side, you want to be as simple and as familiar to them as possible. So, that's kind of why we, flushed out some of the language stuff from the beginning, because it was kind of, sounding scary and, let's say a bit too innovative. So, I think the main ideas are still all there. It is just a matter of, how and when do we present them. So that is, something that we are daily kind of discovering.
Awesome. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about your GPT web app generator project. This is really cool because, AI is something that is coming up a lot in a lot of different places for a lot of different reasons, a lot of different use cases. And usually what I see is there's, of course, things like Copilot. I think Copilot, came way before GPT, and developers kind of got a taste of this before the general public, really, because they were already using Copilot, which had GPT embedded within it. So you could actually use Copilot to have a conversation like you would with ChatGPT if you did it all in comments. If you're a comment and a comment responding to a comment, you create a chatbot within your editor. It was a very, very strange experience, But then when ChatGPT came out, you had a nicer interface, but people realized you can feed ChatGPT code and it would give you code back, and they can understand code. And it was code literate, which is a really incredible thing. Then people started creating companies that kind of integrate it. And what you've done, I'm sure other people have done this, but I haven't really seen it much, is ask it to write you a project. So not just pieces of code, but like an entire project. Is that right? At least web app generators. That's kind of my idea from the title, you know.
I mentioned we tried a couple of similar, coding agents tools like, small AI. We were playing with it. Somebody was trying GPT engineering similar. I think, maybe the main difference is that, we made Wasp AI or GPT generator specifically made for developing like a full project, specifically full stack web apps. And, one other big difference is that, you could run it from the UI. So it is actually, nicely designed web page with a simple form. You just say what kind of app you want and you get it out. All the other kind of tools I saw, you had to run them in your terminal and you had to kind of type in everything and, see the changes locally. It was kind of a bit more cumbersome to use. And, I guess you needed a bit more technical prowess to use it successfully. So, we kind of had a lot of applications built. I think in the first week, it was almost 5K applications.
Don't you have to worry though, like, because you could just generate it? So it's like, what if that was just like 1,000 bots? Like, were you actually seeing people like tweeting these things? Like, there's people building things that they're actually using in some sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, another point actually, Martin can tell more about this is the price. Also, when we compared like using small AI for generation of an app versus doing it with Wasp, it was a huge difference. So I think the numbers roughly, Martin.
Sure. No, I mean, just on the topic of the.
So real quick. So you're saying that there's a cost. Is that because you're using the API, the OpenAI's API? It will cost more depending on how big your app is.
Yeah, sure. I mean, sorry, I guess you're answering two questions at the moment, so I got jammed. So basically, on one hand, yeah, there is we are using directly OpenAI API, ChatGPT, so we have their rate limits and we have their costs. I think what Matija was mentioning is that actually, our Magic App generator is less expensive to generate the whole app than maybe some other solutions out there like Small AI or GPT Engineer. Which is mostly because it's so well tailored for the use case. Is doing. I mean, basically, the main thing about our Magic App generator, I'll just call it generator from now on. The main thing for our generator is that it's tailored exactly for building web apps with Wasp, right? So it's a trade-off in the sense that you are less flexible. You can produce any kind of software, like Chrome extensions, or maybe it's not good for video games in Unity, or it can't even produce a web app that's using Next. But it's very good in producing web apps using Wasp, and actually compared to other tools, it will give better, more rounded, full working web app from the first shot actually. While with other tools, you're kind of you get something, then you iterate multiple times, and it's still not there. But as I said, it's a trade-off.
Yeah, I mean, the main kind of trick, let's say, which Martin said, it's so tailored for the use case of web apps. Is basically, we could use GPT-4 for the more complex stuff, like design the plan for your application, figure out what you need to generate. But then we could use GPT 3.5 for the majority of the grunt work. And, that's what made it so cost effective. I think in the end,
I mean, the other tools are also using something similar.
Yeah.
They do get best performance with GPT-4 or Anthropic or something. But we also have less iterations because it takes less for us to get to something that works.
Okay, Scott, can you pull up my screen so we can start looking at this while we're talking?
Absolutely, I was waiting.
Cool.
Okay, so this is magic.app.generator.wasp.lang.dev.
Exactly.
Let's find you a domain right now.
We had some lengthy discussions about the domain name, and we ended up with a lengthy domain name, I guess.
Okay, so this should be Wasp GPT.
Yeah,
that's what this should be.
That would be cool. I think I was pushing for Wasp AI, right?
Okay, yeah.
Wasp AI, even shorter. You want wasp.ai. That's what you want.
Oh yeah, that's like 20K probably. Yeah.
Probably take it.
Yeah. Okay, so GPT web app generator. So I was looking at this, and you have a way to generate one. You also have some templates. I'm going to start with a template, and then we can kind of generate more from there, because I want to see what it is like just doing this. So you have an app name, description, app brand color. So let's talk about this. What does creativity level mean? I think this is probably based around temperature.
Right, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, basically it's adjusting temperature. We're using two different temperatures, one for fixing the code, one for producing. So it
Great.
adjusts
Let's
both,
stop
but
and let's explain. We all know what temperature is, so good
0
for
to
us.
1.
Let's explain what temperature is to the audience.
sure. That's a good point. Do you want me to take that?
Sure.
Go for it. Yeah.
I mean, temperature is basically just a parameter for GPT, telling it how creative to be. The higher it is, the more crazy it gets, though. So it starts
So
spitting out
More
that's
like
hallucinations. You get.
So this is true, but also I feel like describing it that way will be confusing to people because turning up or down creativity, like that's a very abstract concept. What it's doing and why we say that is because it turns up or down how unique its response is, in the sense that if you turn it really low, it's going to give a response that's more similar to what is already in the data and in the responses, whereas as you turn it up, it will generate newer, stranger, more abstract, more creative things that are not present in the original data set.
Sure.
Yeah,
True. Right. And the original data set is what you're feeding it here, and also what's in the back of your agent, and all that creation, right? So
makes sense.
And so it also makes it more likely to create hallucinations, which then can be a problem because that's when it's doing things that don't actually correlate with the code itself or the real world.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't really avoid them anyway. Like you will get them for sure.
So what's your highest temperature on these levels here on creativity level? From 0 to 1, obviously, is the temperature. So what do you?
Yeah, actually now it's 0 to 2.
Oh, did they change it? Okay.
Yeah, I think they changed it at some point. I know now it's because I also remember it being from 0 to 1 before. I think now it's 0. Now it's certainly 0 to 2. Recommended default is 0.7 from them. So we are also using that to generate.
I've used 0.8 for summarization. So yeah, that sounds about right to me.
Yeah,
got it.
So we use 0.7 for the balanced approach there. But if you go for creative, I think it's 1.2, and the conservative one or conventional.
This is that OpenAI needs better docs on this. This is their entire response for how to set the temperature parameter.
Yeah, this should be like this should be like a page, honestly.
Lower values for temperature result in more consistent outputs, while higher values generate more diverse and creative results. See, their explanation, I have the same critique with them as your guys'. Like the temperature value based on the desired trade-off between coherence and creativity.
Yeah. I mean, I think at technical level, it basically comes down to, because each time you have a GPT do a prediction, it basically chooses a bunch of words and then picks the one with the highest probability, right?
I like this. Setting it to 0 makes it mostly deterministic.
Yeah, exactly. So basically to choose the one with the highest probability, well, I think if you give higher temperature, then it kind of goes, like, okay, I will choose a different thing this time, and you get fun stuff. I know above 1.5, I used to get, like, I don't know, output in French, assembly. It would quote some pieces of books.
It really wants to express itself in the lingua franca. It demands it.
It becomes like a modern art, So, By the way, I would recommend for the demo maybe going with one of other two examples, to do or my plans. Just because
I like blogs, though. I want to make a blog.
Okay, fair enough.
So let's do my plans.
No, just because it will be easier to get it to work. It will do less mistakes.
Okay, this is to do. You can't go wrong to do. But I got you a better name to do GPT.
My plans is also quite.
Yeah, to do app is boring. My plans.
Fine.
Boring.
This is for your optimal experience.
I feel like
I'm gonna choose to do conventional because I wanted this to not break since we're doing it demo. Is that a good trade-off?
It's a good choice. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, even if it breaks, it's not a big deal. We can.
Okay, so and then does it matter which one?
Yeah, it's just a clickbait. Yeah.
So
no, it is a promise of future. Yeah.
I'm clicking generate app. Nothing's happening.
Oh, let's see what's happening. You press generate. Now it's starting. Okay, wait. So let's wait.
It usually starts
to refresh.
No, it usually starts immediately. So I'm actually surprised it's not yet working. I'm sure you clicked it, right?
Yeah, it said starting.
You know what? We actually had the
outage.
The thing crash. I saw it crash yesterday.
You're on fly. Shouldn't have done that.
No, Fly was good to us so far. Is it possible it actually crashed Matija, try it on our side.
Yeah, let me try.
Well, this is
If you're running this thing in a Docker container on the fly, then you never know. Fly's great. I'm a big fan of the Fly team. I actually know them personally, and they're great dudes. They have network challenges that they're very transparent about.
Yeah, no, I think that they just have a great influx of users, and it's not easy to scale.
Yeah, no, they're great. Yeah, it's a great service. So it's like it has just so many people are using it. So that's good for them.
But amazingly, it's actually down. Yeah, of course, typical demo, right?
That is too funny. Can I spin it up locally and run it?
We can also share some of the runs that we ran before, so you can easily check it out. I think that should.
Let's do this. Hold on, let's do this. Let's look at the code.
I can't believe it's not working. It doesn't work that.
Wait, I also have something to show it. I will just share the link with you.
Because we could literally run this on a Docker container on my own computer. That should be possible.
It could be run locally. It's just that you will need to set up a couple of variables. I think, what do you need? You also need to connect.
Do you guys want to do that on your computer?
You could run it locally, maybe, Martin. Yeah.
I could run it locally. I was on vacation for 2 weeks and just came back today. So
welcome back.
Okay, let's take a pause point then, right here.
Yeah.
Sorry, we had some technical issues right there. We're restarting right here. This is now we're sharing with Martin. He's got GPT web app generator up, and go ahead and what app are you going to generate here?
Sure. Here it is. So we have some example apps here. So it's easier to pick from these guys. By the way, these are like 3 levels of complexity to the app. The simplest one, intermediate complexity. Blog is kind of a bit harder. Wasp still gets it right, but it often gets like a couple of small mistakes you need to fix manually. So let's maybe go with. I mean, each of them has a potential for some mistakes, but blog is the hardest.
Yeah, no, my plan sounds good. Yeah.
My plans are maybe the best choice.
So it has a schedule.
Exactly.
So does that mean there's going to be like triggers at certain points in the future?
Yeah. So sorry, you said what watering points in the future?
So I'm just saying, like when it says there's a schedule, like so what does this app do?
Right. Yeah. It was inspired by situation in the office. So where basically I forgot to water the plants. So
it's reminding you on a schedule in the future. That's like what I'm getting at.
Exactly. Yeah. That's it. You will provide your plants. You say this guy needs watering every couple of days and every 4 days, and then every 4 days you can check the status of your plants and see when you watered it the last time and stuff like that.
That sounds very useful. That sounds like an actual useful app.
Yeah, it's actually a useful app. That's a good point. I mean, as you can see, explanation is it's not one sentence, but it's also not very technical, right? So it's kind of like, hey, I want this. I want 1 page with this button and stuff like that.
So this has written a prompt for you.
Yes, I mean you could write your own prompts. Here.
No, but what I'm saying is the description is the prompt.
Yeah, good. I see what you're getting at. Yeah, this will be part of the prompt for GPT.
So what is the prompt, and are you able to see the prompt?
I can actually,
I want to see the prompt.
Yeah, I'm curious.
And Scott wants the prompt because Scott knows what a prompt is. The prompt is what you tell the Oracle. Is what you tell the Oracle of Delphi and say, "Give me the answer to the universe."
Right.
Exactly.
So we just zooming in, Martin.
So I'm just looking at this. So since I'm running it locally at the moment, I will actually be able to.
Find the exact text. There'll be a text blob somewhere where this is being inserted in that text blob.
Exactly. So I will actually be able to probably show the prompt here. So basically, what you're doing is based on this, we will make multiple prompts over GPT, and tell it to build page by page, make initial plan, build page by page, and then at the end fix some stuff, wrap the whole thing up, and there you have an app. So it will be like maybe 10 prompts. Maybe I can just kickstart it, and then we can see the
fast aid. Yeah. So generate. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's do the generation part. Yeah, we are in the lobby, and there we are. Magic starts.
So is this feeding you the fly output right now?
Sorry, is this
fly?
Like what we're seeing right now, is this the output from fly, or is this just like something you're generating right now that's connected to your where this is actually deployed?
Well, I'm running this locally at the moment, so this is all local.
Right. So if this were connected, this step, right? Like, what is this output where it says generating plan? Like, where is the plan generated usually?
Sure. Basically, generating plan means we just asked GPT to give us a plan of what this Wasp app will look like, and we are waiting a bit for it to respond. It actually takes it like, oh, there it goes.
We could even check it out how it looks like.
Yeah, we can even check it out in the logs. It's moving
So
fast.
it's kind of like there's like a CLI embedded that's like running these commands.
Kind of, exactly. We're actually interacting directly with the OpenAI API, right? And we're asking GPT questions. We're getting answers.
So what is this editor looking setup? How is this generated? Is this just like a kind of like as like an iframe, basically?
Yeah, no, this is actually some kind of we code it manually. This is a cool library for displaying files as a tree, and here we are, we are just showing the files as we are generating them. It's all manual. Yeah.
Interesting.
No
be curious if you'll be able to do this in like the ultimate would be doing this in like GitHub Actions, and then you could like just have it right in your GitHub and then use their dev kind of thing. That'd be epic.
Yeah, that could be. I think that's a possible alternative.
Or Gitpod. I don't know if you've ever looked at Gitpod, yeah. But this would be a cool tool for that too.
Exactly. I've even discussed. I know internally we discussed going with GitHub Codespaces
or Replit or similar.
Yeah, this is just a bit simpler for the end user.
No, it could be a cool next step. This is more like more just for seeing what's being generated, live or easily.
Yeah.
Explore.
So the idea is you wouldn't edit the app in this. This is just like a way to kind of visualize it and display it and look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
You can actually see what's being generated live here.
Did you guys index something that it's referencing so that it can structure this more easily?
Or you just throwing a straight prompt at GPT-4 and saying, "Give me an app." Yeah.
That's a great question. Yeah.
Let me show you maybe this as a kind of an answer. So basically, what we are doing is, the important thing about GPT is it has no memory, right? So every conversation is a new conversation. It doesn't look like that. Yeah, exactly. It's stateless. It doesn't look like that in ChatGPT UI, but actually in the background it's always resending everything, right? So we are doing the same thing. Here, our kind of
maybe just zoom in a bit.
Zoom in on your font. So this is just like what is this right now that we're looking at?
Yeah, exactly.
And also you don't have syntax highlighting or anything.
It's not terminal, but let's.
I'm just looking how to quickly zoom in so you guys can have a nicer. Yeah, I'll do this. I know there is a nicer way to do it, but this is the fastest.
But like, if you're actually working on this yourself, you would do this without syntax highlighting. Like how? Like this is Markdown, isn't it? Just get some Markdown syntax highlighting.
I didn't quite get.
I mean, this is not an editor. This is like purely what we are getting from.
Yeah, this is the return from the server.
It's returning your whole thing right now. So it's just giving you this whole fat Markdown file.
Right.
What are we looking at right now?
Yeah, sorry. What you're looking at is basically the app I'm running, the Wasp AI app. It's communicating with GPT, asking it prompts and so on. And while doing that, it's basically printing what it's doing. So this is actually a Wasp app.
So these are logs. This is like the logs of what you're doing with ChatGPT.
Exactly, logs.
Okay.
You have said that. So these are logs from the. Yeah.
Sorry. My bad. I missed that. My bad.
No, probably I didn't emphasize. So these are logs from the Wasp app, Wasp AI app, Magic Generator. This is server basically telling us stuff, and it's saying stuff like let's quickly see. It's saying it just asked GPT. It sent it the message.
I think this shared message is great.
So you're also. It looks like you're using ChatGPT 3.5.
Yeah, and
not 4.
The temperature for conventional is 0.5. It looks like.
We're using both. So basically, we are using 4 for the first step, which is making a plan for the. So first, you plan the whole web app. It's like, okay, it will have 3 pages. It will have 2 entities, 2 like data models, right? It will have these functions, these RPC methods, and so on. Once that plan is generated, you can actually see the.
You can see the logs in the app.
You can actually see the plan here. So this is the plan. Look. It says, okay, I will have 1 query, get user plans, 2 actions, create plant, water plant. 2 okay, we have user and plant, and 2 pages at the end. So cool, we have a high-level overview, and then it goes about building each of those. So it's like creating this action, that action,
and that's all 3.5.
Yeah, and this all is 3.5. This step is GPT-4.
Interesting. Okay. So because you want the first one that generates the initial structure to be smarter,
Right.
and then the
Yeah.
details aren't as important.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, we tested with both. Of course, using GPT-4 on everything gives somewhat better results, but
Have you tried Claude?
no. I read about Claude. I think
So Claude is public now. Claude was not public until a couple weeks ago. I would recommend looking into it.
The thing is, Claude is using 100K context. That's cool, but I don't think
Yes.
from what I read, it's not smarter than GPT 3.5. And to be
It doesn't need to be smarter. If it's as smart as, then it's better.
Yeah, but for example, at the end, the problem we had wasn't really context. It was like, I mean, I would say you
With
get
the giant app, context isn't a problem. That kind of surprises me.
because GPT 3.5
Because your apps are small.
Yeah, they're small, but even with those small apps, you still like 16K context. Was a new thing when we were doing this. It's a lot for the smaller apps, and still, even at that, GPT 3.5 starts being silly, right? So it's
just not as smart. It's just kind of dumb.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think Claude is great for, I don't know, summarizing huge documents or stuff like that, right? But for this, you need both big context, and it needs to be smart enough to be able to work with such a big context, and it just can't. So even 16K was too much for us at the end.
Interesting.
Yeah. Super short. That's about it. By the way, the important thing is that GPT-4 is much slower and much more expensive, 10 times. So this balance of it gives a nice experience, I think.
Yeah, you want to split the difference between the two because that allows you to have margins essentially.
Sorry, the margins?
Right.
Like margins, it allows you to have margins of the cost. Like you can kind of decide, okay, we want this part of the app to be cheaper and this part to be more expensive. Because if you just do the whole app on the most expensive thing, you're always doing the most expensive thing. Whereas if you have some sort of way to separate the smart part from the less smart part, you can kind of increase and make it more of the process and make it cheaper if you want at any point by switching to a different model.
Which
you want
makes
that
everything
not to
smart.
tune.
Exactly.
You're just being smart. Then you're a person who's making decisions and ain't paying money to do a thing, so AI hasn't taken your job.
Which is also great, right? So that's
lots of benefits.
I think we kind of measured. I think like a single app is about $0.1, right?
Yeah, single typical app is 0.1 to 0.2.
So like 20 cents.
$0.1, so 10 cents.
Yeah, sorry,
10 to 20. 10 to 20 is in.
Yeah, and I think we tried small AI and similar. It was more like like $1 or $2 to generate the
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So how do we get that to a cent?
That's maybe
Anthony's always pushing the envelope for sure.
I actually might have an answer for that. Interesting step would be using, I think, Llama, right? From Facebook.
Llama, right? Exactly. You run the model yourself, and then you have the model. So then you're not running a model that costs money every time you run the model.
Exactly.
Right.
That's one very big advantage. The second advantage is that with Llama, we could, if we have our own, we could actually do some additional training, like fine tuning, or what is the name, right? To teach it about Wasp, so we don't have to repeat it in every prompt, which then reduces the number of tokens. So that could be quite a big improvement.
Yeah, you could
totally.
index a lot of things for Wasp in there.
So let's take this app. Can we actually run this app that you've generated?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I just thought we could go to the logs quickly and just show how we are trying multiple times to actually fixing some errors and stuff. I think that is.
You mean these logs, right?
Yeah, these logs. So what's happening here? We kind of try to encounter because we know that GPT might make some mistakes. So we detect it several times before actually giving you the output, and retry some of the things we know failed. So this is kind of how we, let's say, diminish the number of mistakes in the final app.
Yeah, it is the reason why the generator is able to get very close to something fully working or almost working in one shot, right? Because, for example, it's resistant to generator returning, to GPT returning equally JSON. We also try to fix stuff. We know mistakes that are often done by GPT, and then we just kind of tell it to fix it, or we fix them manually. Manually with heuristics, right? So we have these additional fixing steps. But we get this because we know what we are building. We know we are building a web app in Wasp, right? So that is that additional kind of power you get with this angle.
Yeah, I think it was like mostly messing up some imports, like you would import like relative path instead of episode path, or just like default import versus specific import and similar.
Yeah. you can see imports in pages fixed. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, GPT is great, but some things like you can tell it 10 times to not do something, it will still do it. So, so it's amazing in that regard. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
try.
I heard one person describe it as like ChatGPT is like a very stupid grad student.
Yeah, it's like I would say it's like a genius small kid. It knows
A genius, well, yes, the reverse.
That's good.
Doesn't care about stuff you tell it, right? So that's
I like that better.
It knows all the facts, but doesn't care about what you want.
This is what I want. Yeah.
exactly.
I want.
It's also getting smarter every day as kids are, so that's interesting.
That's true.
Getting more evil.
Yeah.
Sucking all of our brains out of the technosphere, taking our thoughts and becoming the new consciousness. Fascinating.
That's going to work finally. We are waiting for that. Yeah. Okay, cool. Shall we try to run it locally?
Yeah, sure. Just to show quickly. So basically, you can see the whole thing here already. Just
Tailwind. So good job.
It's using Tailwind, exactly.
I
We told it actually in the prompt. We tell it, use Tailwind, right?
Yeah, of course. Otherwise, it would use whatever stack it wanted to.
Exactly, which we don't want, right?
Yeah.
So, so you can see the whole code here. It actually generated this get user plants thing. It has, something to water the plants, and it has something to create a plant.
Question.
Cool.
React server components or no?
Oh boy, this could go into a 30-minute conversation.
Yeah, it will be short because we don't have them yet in Wasp. So yeah, that's it. I think we are exploring them. They will be probably kind of joining Wasp at some point.
I would say, could you tell ChatGPT or tell the model to generate one with React server components?
I could tell it to do it, but it's building this app in Wasp, and Wasp doesn't support it. So
okay, but is it Wasp just using React, so how can it not support it?
That's a good point, but Wasp is kind of a wrapper around React, so it's.
So because the way you have it set up, where it hooks into the server and the database, you're not using React server components, right?
Exactly. The actual front end right now is like an SPA. So it's not.
Yeah, I think it's similar to how Redwood introduced, recently our server components. Like we have to do the same work actually to support.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not terrible. It's not terrible amount of work. It's just we need to do it properly.
Yeah,
so.
We are waiting for others to kind of find the optimal way of doing it.
Yeah, I was waiting for Next to do it so they can just copy what they did, but that's not really going to work for either Wasp or Redwood because their products are more complicated.
Yeah. There's still some learnings to be had there, I think. So yeah, maybe good to wait a bit.
I would love to see the prompts on all this though. Jeez, it would just. I love seeing how it works.
I can quickly show you some prompts. So, for example, let's see.
You have to increase your font a little bit more once you find it.
I'll do that again. No worries.
Yeah, zoom in like for at least 2 notches because there is no.
Funnily enough, I'm just increasing the font. Yeah, let's see. Maybe this.
Yeah, go.
Select.
Oh, that's better.
What about this? This is nice, right?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm just looking for GPT-4 because I know then we are doing the planning part. Still 3.5. Come on, there's 4. I think this one will be. Wait, I think I'm coming close. No, I could search it once. We are in the terminal. I don't want to press the wrong button. Give me just a second. We're almost there. The anticipation of it. Almost there. You see how much work is getting done, right? It's amazing.
But I mean, any prompt is fine because it has all the context and stuff. So
okay, let's let this last one. Let's see the last one. I think this one might be okay. I'm just let's go from here. So you can see a prompt here. It always starts. So basically, this is a conversation with the GPT, right? Okay, here is 3.5, 16K temperature, right? 0.7.
And then the role in the content is the important part. You have the role in the system, and then the content is the prompt.
Exactly. Here it is, right? As you said. So here's the role. The system thing is basically it's like the most important message, right? And it, we tell it.
So let's really hone on this because where it says role equals system, there's role is something people can look up, figure that out, and then content equals, and then you have that is the prompt. The prompt starts at content equals. So if you're using ChatGPT and you're talking to it, you would start right there. That's what you would plug into the input.
Exactly. This is what you would actually write in ChatGPT.
So it starts by saying, you are an expert Wasp developer. That's the very first thing you say to it.
Perfect.
Exactly. So,
And helping implement a new Wasp app.
Yeah,
to
very
boost the
specific.
to boost the confidence a bit, right?
You can do it.
Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
Basically, here is very gets interesting. Here is like
So
now
you write. So this is where this is why I've seen Markdown before. You write Markdown for it. You give it like a README.
yeah, it looks like a markdown. You're right. It actually
It is Markdown. It's
Yeah.
it's dash 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 Wasp, and then the thing. This is Markdown. This is what we're looking at Markdown right now.
That's a good point. It's here. To be honest, I use
This is all Markdown.
I use this everywhere, so I even forget it's Markdown. So I didn't.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is because GPT understands Markdown. So developers who know Markdown speak Markdown to it. It gives Markdown back. No one who doesn't know Markdown has any idea what the hell we're saying to it.
Okay. That's a good point. I mean, yeah, GPT understands everything really. So that's a nice part
That's
there.
true.
Right? And here basically is what you are kind of typing into the into ChatGPT, right? So all this thing is a prompt. It's you. It's kind of user, right? And you're telling basically what we do is we give it a quick intro of what Wasp is. Full stack web framework, uses React, important features. So that's
wow, this is so fascinating. So you give GPT the Wasp pitch and then tell it to generate an app for you that looks like a Wasp app. You hand it a Wasp app and then explain the Wasp app and then tell it to give you a Wasp app.
You've had
that
to.
makes
Otherwise,
so much sense.
It would go so far out
this
of
would
the
be
boundaries of everything.
you could take this prompt. You could do this with other
That's what
things.
I'm saying. Yeah. That's why I wanted to see the details. This is so cool.
No. I mean, it's not like you could do it with other stuff. By the way, one thing
you should have a doc in this project where that kind of explains the prompt. I might help you with this because this is like super interesting. But this would be like very useful for people I think to understand like what this is doing under the hood.
And then it would help people to build other super cool apps for because maybe they don't understand the whole prompting process and what goes through and into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of information out there, but if the more of it, the better, right? Is what I think. So
yeah.
We
actually have a blog post where we described in details, how we built it. So you can even see the prompts. You can see this is all open source, so you can see the whole source. It's relatively simple, to be honest. It's in Haskell, but it's really easy to read, I think.
I mean, I've tried putting prompts in some things and like having it, and then feeding it information on the front, and then having like documents that it can search through inside of a vector database and stuff like that, and it did not work how I wanted to do. It ended up like completely terrible. I'm like, oh my gosh, like how could I iterate this any better? But
can you pull up that blog post? I think I know what you're talking about. Is the one that's GPT web app generator, let AI create a full stack React and Node code base based on your description. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh yes, it's another one. This one is more like general intro, and the other one is like how we built it. I think more like.
Can you pull up the one you're talking about then? Because that's the one I'm finding when I Google it.
Can you pull it up, Martin?
Yeah, you can. Actually, the first one, the one you're looking at, should contain the link for the second one. It's like, if you want more technical details,
right.
Just not
look.
I see. Yeah.
Oh, you found it. Okay, good. So basically, it's
how we built a GPT code agent that generates full stack web apps in React and Node. Explained simply.
Here it is, exactly. It even has. I mean, I would say it's perfect if you want to learn more about prompting. It even has like the tips, how we handle different problems. A lot of stuff I'm also talking about here, right? So it's.
Well, I think because as you said, this is Wasp specific.
Right.
So I think a lot of people are gonna see this. They're like, okay, this is cool, but like, how do I do this like a non-Wasp app? I think some people have that thought.
Exactly. No, and you could certainly do it. I mean, it's a bit hard to say because the whole space is developing very fast.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of kind of implicit knowledge you need to have about how these things work and know like what a prompt is, what a role is, like what temperature is. It's like there's terms, there's concepts, and it's like all of us are like deep in this, so like we're already immersed in all these things, but the average developer is just like, what AI, huh?
I love it.
Exactly. I mean, it's still much more approachable than AI before. You don't need to know any ML.
Oh yeah.
Oh
no, totally. I know. Yeah, I tried to learn Python and run models back in the day. This is the way to go.
It's amazingly simple. No, what I also wanted to kind of mention is that interesting future would be the future where each web framework has their own kind of code agent. So other frameworks will also do something like this. And then, so basically what we have here is, it's not magic. Basically, you have GPT, which at every step is embedded with information about Wasp. So suddenly you get GPT, which knows about Wasp. you could have the same thing for other frameworks. It will require doing something like this.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, a smarter SaaS starter for your, grad app, right?
Yeah.
It is just, it's not like the thing you pay $100 and download the template. It has your data models, basics, your basic grad tailored to your domain. So yeah, typically, just like a smart grad starter.
Yeah.
So can we run this app?
Let's run it. Do you want to quickly show the end of the rest of this prompt, or should we go on? What do you say?
I think we're going on the prompts. We should show the app.
Okay, let's go on.
Let's show the cool stuff.
Let's run the app. Give me just a second. Okay, so we have it here. Now we go to run the app locally. We can download it. Okay, what is it? My plans. Cool. I download my plans. Let's see, where is it now? It's my plans, right? Okay. Extracting them, going in. Right, this is looking good. Okay, I will now kill the Wasp AI app. I will just go to downloads. Oops, it was silly. Right, so my plans. Okay, so this is basically the Wasp app we generated. And I think we have to do anything smart. I think we can just
migrate and run.
That's about it, yeah. So
you want to migrate first?
We do first quick DB migration.
And this is even SQLite or not?
This is SQLite.
Yeah, okay, so you don't need to run DB.
Exactly. It will even tell me that if I try to do it. So basically now Wasp is just, installing, doing it's
npm install in the background,
install,
pretty much.
Right? Because at the end it is a React Node.js app. It has these motivational messages here, to make sure you're entertained.
I like it.
Yeah. If you want to see more, you need to provide slower internet connection. Then you see more. Okay. Right. So the database migration.
So right now it's running a Prisma migration right now. So this is setting up your database tables so that you can have the app set up, and it's doing it all with SQLite, so you don't have an external database set up somewhere else.
Exactly. It did all the Prisma stuff in the background. Basically, it's called Prisma in the background. And that's it. Now you can start your Wasp app. Let's see. So there's a chance it generated it with no mistakes, or maybe it did some small mistakes. You never know with GPT. So let's see what it actually did. Oh, okay. So we have something here.
We got a login. So question, where does
Nope.
So how does the login work? Is it just like you have your own crypto libraries in here?
Yeah, basically it's passport in the background. Yeah.
Passport. Okay.
Yeah.
Old school.
Yeah, no need for third-party services.
I think
have you guys gotten a clerk partnership yet?
I was going to ask about that earlier.
Yeah, no, I know.
I was like, how are you guys using auth for your apps?
Clerk would be really nice right here.
Like, for real. I was thinking the same exact thing.
It could be an interesting addition. That's for sure. I mean, for now we have this kind of local solution, so you don't have to.
The local is what's nice because you have a whole self-contained. Like, this is how I learned to code in my boot camp. Like, you have a self-contained Node app running on your computer.
Exactly, which is kind of like the old-fashioned way, right?
It's nice and it makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. Okay, let's create some. We just need to create a user. Let's call it plant owner. Very imaginative. Password test 1 2 3 4. Oh, it's suggesting some cool passwords. Okay, let's sign up. Well, okay, still working so far. That's good. By the way, we can see the logs here, right? So we can see what's happening. Yeah, all responding nicely. Let's add a plant. Oh, nice. Okay, so I don't know. Hibiscus. Why not? I missed something, right? I missed a case.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
No, this is fine.
Okay. And this is the number of. Okay, it would be nice if it said,
I think if you delete 0, it will show the label.
It does. Okay, nice. Watering interval in this. So
sometimes it adds labels on top, and sometimes it adds it just leaves it as placeholder.
Yeah.
So
depends. I'm still amazed. It adds anything. So.
Right. The fact that it even does the CRUD in the first place is so mind blowing. It's like people with AI, they have this thing where they like immediately jump to like it did this tiny thing wrong. It's like, but it did the thing at all. That's mind blowing. Like I remember the first time I started writing books, and I'm like, computers write books now. And people are like, whatever. Like, hey, you wrote a book.
Yeah. But you know, it has mistakes, right? So it's amazing how we raise our standards very quickly.
Yeah,
right?
but it doesn't solve my whole life yet.
Right.
So let's see. I just clicked the add plant, and there we go. There we have it. It's a plant.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
I have no idea.
Like what's happening?
Okay,
It's taking over.
By the way, you can also see how the requests are being done. It made the request for creating the plant.
Yeah.
It's fetching new data. I have to admit, I have no idea what the details will do.
All right, let's find out. This is exciting.
Yeah, I think it's one. This all. Yeah.
It wants to give you just another thing connected to the thing to give you one more thing to do. Because it's like it doesn't want to give you just the thing. That's give you one more.
That is typical of ChatGPT. That's for sure.
It's pushing us forward, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we can also check it in the code.
But this is where if I was interacting with ChatGPT and I said, "Hey, spit this app out for me," I could be like, "Hey, make a
details page, right?" And then
there's a details page.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, that's something we will be adding into the generator, like multiple steps, right? Because it makes perfect sense. We just
to be honest, iteration.
We just exactly having iterations, right? The main reason we didn't do it so far is just because we didn't have time. So this is
what's funny is that's interesting because this is a great point. Like, who was it? What's the thing that's like Pipe Dream, Anthony, that we just did? Valtown, right? So Valtown, right? Like you weren't able to like iterate on things, right? Just like in Pipe Dream and their ChatGPT. Sorry, I guess it was Pipe Dream. They have an AI thing where it can spit out code for different things inside of Pipe Dream for creating connections to APIs and stuff, right? And but they didn't allow you to iterate on it. And so like basically it gave you this thing and then you'd have to like manually iterate it yourself instead of going back and forth with ChatGPT, which is kind of cool. So it's like, I feel like that's the next big step for many people that are creating these different things is the iteration piece, because you need that human interaction to be able to go back and forth and correct it or help it or whatever.
Yeah, it brings a lot more value on top, right? Like this is a nice start here, but it gets you the whole new level. The thing is, I think just when we were building this, right? At this point, we already had something that was good enough to provide value to people. So it was like, let's push it. But
this is MVP.
But
right,
I agree. Yeah,
MVP.
Sure takes it.
No, it's cool.
Much further.
This is amazing.
Thank you, Aisol. GPT.
Shall we water it?
We can water it, and there we go. It doesn't water. Why not? And now we can check it actually. Let's see.
Well, at least the button's there. It knows it needs water.
Button is there. I'm looking at the button. I see it's not. It's
not
just
triggering anything.
Not trying hard. I mean, but this is now, of course, we can take a quick look at it, and see why that's not working. Let's open it in here are my plants, right? So let's see source.
I mean, just open the root and
we can open the page, right? We have sorry.
I mean,
I forgot I'm opening the.
So we can easily explore it. Yeah.
I forgot I'm opening the project. I don't know. Don't. Is it too small? Yes, it is. I trust myself.
It's Command plus.
Can I maybe
Control plus?
make this bigger?
Yeah.
There we go. Maybe
much better.
Much better. Right. So you can see Wasp app. We have clients. We have pages. Let's quickly see homepage. What is that? Okay, I can put it here. It's a React app, Tailwind, right? It has add plant. It has a water button.
Nothing. Yeah, it's just
all right.
Let's click water plant.
Water plant
function. Yeah.
And then there's a use action water plant. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not. That's looking good actually. So let's see. We have Wasp.
It is an action.
And it's importing water plant. It looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have Wasp actions here.
Yeah.
So there it is. Here's the water plant thing, which does what? It finds a plant and then sets. This is actually, to be honest, this is actually looking good. So I guess we need to do some debugging.
Yeah, but we didn't see any requests.
Yeah, there are no requests happening.
Being triggered, or maybe you just.
I'm still clicking on it.
Maybe because you are zoomed in too much in your terminal.
Now all you got to do is copy that code, go paste it in ChatGPT, and tell it to fix it.
Tell it to fix it, right? No, I didn't. But it is here. Handle water plant is not defined. Okay, I think it's just. So this is like, as you mentioned, kind of GPT hallucinations, right? So look, here it says water plant function, right?
Just search for handle.
Where's the handle? Yeah, handle. Water. What am I doing wrong now? Who knows what I'm clicking?
Or in the action, maybe. No.
There is some small mistake here. I'm just not.
Is that where it said it was? I didn't even read it.
Yeah. Wait. What does it say? It says handle water plant is not defined. When I click, add plant page. Oh.
There you go. So it was in the add plant page.
So we are here. I wonder why does it have 2 pages, to be honest.
Yeah.
Here it is. It seems like it's meant to be.
Oh, this is handle create plant, and then we should also have handle.
There's watering right there.
And then,
well, that's interval. Never mind.
Sorry. There it is, right? Handle water plant.
There you go.
And it seems like it just forgot to write it. Yeah. So that's GPT. But fine. So now the solution will be to kind of add that, and it should work.
Yeah, even the action is already ready, so you should just call it.
So just a small part missing. Should we bother with it now?
No,
Maybe that's not so interesting.
Add one more plant. You can see.
Yeah, we can add one more plant.
I'm so curious.
Rose. No.
Sorry, Rose.
Let's make it a real plant.
By the way, for example, for the My Plants thing, it is actually able to generate it. So it actually has 2 pages. So it's actually GPT is actually able to generate these things even without mistakes. I would say every second try, every third try. If you go and make something, if you want to make something bigger, like a blog post, a whole blog, right, with posts and comments and folders and stuff, that's almost guaranteed that it will have some mistake every time.
Sure. But
it's still silly mistakes like this. So it's not like some heavy conceptual mistakes. It's more like you hunting wrong names and stuff like that. And this is, for example, where GPT-4 does somewhat better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think some interesting points. As Martin said, improvements for the future. I think a big feature is going to be actually enable interactivity before you download the actual application.
Yeah.
I think like the simplest way to do is just kind of to allow for debugging. Basically, you see something is wrong in a file, you can just say, hey, this file add a missing function, for example, right?
Or preview option.
Yeah, or it can just regenerate that part of the code.
Yeah, preview option would also be.
Preview option is also, just go to Gitpod, Replit, or something. That's going to be fun, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think those are the main features we had in mind, for the next releases.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else about Wasp in general you want to talk about?
About Wasp, besides the AI part, which is going to be improving, we're always building new features. I think just recently we have full stack type safety for TypeScript. We added we are improving the LSP. It's much easier to use now. It's almost like regular ID stuff is working as you would expect. And we'll have a new launch by the end of September.
With some big changes coming.
Yeah.
We're doing a bit bigger restructuring of Wasp. We should make it kind of. Right now Wasp is using a lot of course JS ecosystem, but still it's a bit closed on a couple of places. And this is all kind of going to open up right now. So it's going to look much more like your normal JavaScript NPM package project.
So yeah.
So that's also pretty exciting.
So I would say stay tuned, follow us on Twitter, and join our Discord. Discord is the best way to stay in touch. Plus, star us on GitHub if you like the project. That's the best way to show your support
and to make Matija happy.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll include all those links in the show notes. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us, for running through this
Thank you.
gamut of technical things to figure out to get this to work. But we got here, and this is really, really impressive.
Yeah.
It's a original developer experience, right? So that's
super cool.
That's how it looks in the real life,
Yeah. Thank you guys also for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Greatly appreciate it. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
In the next one.
In the next one. Peace.
Okay. Bye, guys.